So I tried this once today, and the program stopped recording partway through, and so I'm giving this another attempt. I have some things pre-filled in and pre-highlighted, so I will go through those things as we go along. But I wanted to work through this study guide so that you have something at home to help your child between now and Thursday if they're struggling with any of these concepts as they get ready for the quiz on Thursday. So again, this is lesson 3. We're having the lesson 3 quiz on Thursday. Number 1 says, what is the formula for volume? That formula is V equals length times width times height. And I encourage them to use that formula each time they solve a new problem. Rowan stores her block cubes in a rectangular prism. Complete the equation to find the volume of the box. Write your answers in the blanks. So I went ahead, and so all throughout this packet, I'm doing length in blue, I'm doing width in orange, I'm doing height in pink, just for consistency. So again, volume equals length times width times height. So volume equals 4 times 3 times 3. So some students might do 4 times 3 first and then multiply that times 3. Some might notice that 3 times 3 is 9. I'm trying to write and talk at the same time. They might notice that 3 times 3 is 9. So they might do that part first, 4 times 9. Either way, 12 times 3 or 4 times 9, they should get 36 cubic inches. This is our third lesson on these rectangular prisms, so this part, hopefully, this first part is fairly straightforward and not too much of a struggle. Tyson's rectangular prism is 2 inches long, 5 inches wide, and 3 inches tall. Which one expression can be used to find the volume of the rectangular prism in cubic inches? Again, I did length in blue, width in orange, height in pink. They can try to draw. I'm a little more visual, so I like to see the prism, so I draw it for myself, but I told them they could also kind of make essentially like a chart where they list the length, list the weight, list the height. And this one's not even asking us to find the volume, it's just asking for us to find which equation or expression can be used. Hopefully, they eliminated these fairly quickly because they all include addition. And then we just need to make sure that these measurements work, and so it would be letter D, 2 times 5 times 3 would be the one that we want here. Moving on to the next one. Isaiah's video game case is shaped like a rectangular prism. The case has a length of 16, a height of 2 centimeters, and a volume of 320 centimeters cubed. What is the width of the video game case? Show your work and include the appropriate units in your answer. So I drew the rectangular prism to the best of my ability. I filled in the information we know. The length of 16, the height of 2, same thing over here. The thing that we want to know, the other part we know that I forgot to add is that the volume is 320 cubic centimeters. And so here's how I would go about that. I would fill in my equation, so 16 times the width times 2 equals 320. Okay, and I can rearrange those. So I know that 16 times 2, I know that 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times some mystery number is going to give me 320. A lot of the kids are going to see, well, 32 and 32 with the 0, they're going to know that that missing width is 10 centimeters. Okay, that's going to make sense to some of them. The other thing you could do is do 320 divided by 32. Okay, 32 can't go into 3. 0 times 32 is 0, so I bring down the 3 and then bring down the 2 to meet it. 32 goes into 32 one time. 1 times 32 is 32. 32 minus 32 is 0. Bring down this 0. 32 goes into 0 0 times. So that's another way that you could find that missing digit of 10. So 16 times 10 times 2 is 32. Or sorry, it's 320. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to move down here. Okay, and when I solved this one earlier, I realized that this question was written as if it was divided this way. We've learned that you can also divide it this way, but that's not going to work for this particular problem. Sierra helps her dad build a storage area in her garage for all the kids' outdoor toys. The diagram is shown below. Find the volume of the storage unit in cubic yards. Okay? They're asking us which equations could we use here. So this is divided into two different, and I'm going to shade this one in just to set it apart. Okay. So this top part is 2 yards high, 1 yard wide, 1 yard long, 3 yards wide. Okay. For this bottom one, so we don't need this 5 because the 5 is both together. Also, we don't need this 6 because the 6 doesn't go the whole way to the end. So for this bottom part, we're going to use the 7 and 3 and 3. So I'm looking at this one and the reverse of that. Now what I initially thought was going to happen was that we would have to split it the other way and make this all one and then find the other set of measurements, but this problem is not written that way. Hope that's helpful. Here's our last one. Lily builds a cat food feeder to feed her pet cat. What is the volume of the container in cubic inches? Be sure to label your answer with appropriate labels. I'm going to slide this up. And I tried to set this part off by coloring it in, but that didn't really help. So this is divided right through here. Okay, and so there's this smaller rectangular prism and the bigger one. So the bigger one, we're going to call this A, and this B. Now I know that's not showing up. So part A is the bigger one. That has a length of 6, a width of 4, and a height of 12. Okay, I know that 4 times 12 is 48, so this is going to be 6 times 48. Okay, and so I'm just going to go over here. 48 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 4 is 28. So part A is 288 cubic inches. Then I'm looking here at part B. This 10 is not getting used because that's the length of the whole thing with both pieces together. This 10 was not used because that doesn't give me the full height. So for part B, I've got a length of 4, I've got a width of 4, and I've got a height of 2. That means 16 times 2. I happen to know that 16 times 2 is 32. And now what I have to do to finish out this problem is I have to add those two parts together. 8 plus 2 is 10. 8 plus 1 is 9, 10, 11, 12. 1 plus 2 is 3, so my full volume is 320 cubic inches. We will be going over this packet. We'll talk about a lot of these problems tomorrow in class. We'll finish up talking about any issues or questions on Thursday before the quiz. So I'm hoping that students will come. They can jot down a question if they're afraid they're going to forget to ask me. These are the sorts of problems they could potentially see on Thursday's quiz. So as always, let us know if you have questions.